Hello, I am here with my boyfriend Eli.
Hello.
And so today we are on a mission, and that is going to be to try every single coffee shop in Banff, and we need to decide which is the best. So the categories that we're going to be using are atmosphere, service, taste, and presentation. We're going to rate those out of 10 to make sure that we get the same drinks every time so that it's fair. I'm going to get an iced chai latte because it's usually not my go-to drink.
And I'm getting an iced latte because it's also not my go-to drink.
We've already been to one place, which was called
Good Earth Coffee House.
And then today we went down to Evelyn's. Now it is time to rate them. For Good Earth atmosphere, I rated it a 7.5 because it was like cool and very like clean. Like it was a very modern look and the windows were nice. It just didn't quite feel like a place that I like want to come back and like sit at for a long time to like have a conversation.
Yeah, I give it a 6.5 because the same thing. It's like one of those coffee shops that kind of makes you feel alive. It gives you energy just by being in it, like secondhand. And that's not always my vibe.
For service, I gave it a 6.5. I didn't think the barista was particularly excited that I was there, and also it was quite a long wait. We almost missed our bus.
I gave it a 5, which is kind of harsh, but I don't know, the service wasn't great. And they mispronounced my name, which I mean, whatever, but also that loses you points always.
For taste, I gave mine a 6 because for me, I didn't get any of the other flavors I should be getting in a chai latte. I just pretty much tasted milk.
I gave it an 8, but that's because like, I think a latte is like milk and coffee, and that's kind of like,
well, it is.
That's what it is, and it's like, I could really taste it. Like it tasted very rich and creamy, it was nice.
For presentation, I mean, the cup was cute, it was meh, but I gave it a 7.
Give it 8.5 because I thought about like the restaurant too, or the coffee shop itself.
If we average that all out, I gave Good Earth a 6.5 and Eli gave it
a 7. So we're pretty close.
Today is day 2, trying every single coffee that we can find in Banff. Let's go do that.
Excited though.
Okay, next is Evelyn's. And so the first category is atmosphere, and I gave it a 9. It was not empty, but it was like pretty big, so people could like have space. You know, people weren't like sitting very close to us. We were by the window seat. It was very nice. It was cozy vibes. Like everything was like comforting.
I also gave it a 9. It was a lot more low-key than Good Earth, which definitely fits my vibe. And even though it's on Main Street and things inside, it felt very calm still, and I really enjoyed that.
Service was a 7. It was extremely fast, but once again, I feel like the barista, she was like, 1 second, and then like 5 seconds later, she's like, 1 second. But like, it was fine.
Yeah.
But like, it just wasn't like, you know, 10 out of 10.
They were a little short-staffed. I give it an 8 just because like we ordered and we grabbed our like food and we went back, and then 2 seconds later the coffee was ready.
For taste, I gave mine an 8 because this time around I could get those other flavors. It was super yummy.
For taste, I gave mine a 6, and it's kind of the opposite because the first time around it was like a very like more complex flavor, and then this time around it tasted kind of like just pretty much like watered down coffee.
Yeah, for presentation, I gave it a 6. They had fun straws that you could choose from. They had a nice little station, but their like stock of food was like a little bare.
Yeah.
And stuff, and then they didn't give us a plate even though we were dining in. We had to get like, it just,
yeah.
Once again, we're kind of on the same page, except I gave it a higher rating this time, so I gave it a 7.5 and Eli gave it a
7.
Yeah, so those are the 2 we visited so far, where we have way more to hit on the list.
I'm excited.
coffee at Little Wild, and right now we're sitting in this beautiful garden. It's called Butterfly Garden, but no one's here, so I thought it would be appropriate. But I'm still gonna try and be quiet. But honestly, amazing. Atmosphere though, I gave it a 6. It was kind of like in a store, but it was kind of fun because they were all like in stampede mode, so like staff wearing cowboy hats and country music. I don't know if that's the norm, but like it was kind of fun.
I gave it a 4.5 because it was in a mall and it wasn't like very inviting.
For service, I gave it an 8. They were very fast and they were nice. I have nothing bad to say.
I gave it a 6.5 because, yeah, again, nothing bad to say, but also like nothing really good.
For taste, I gave mine a 9. This has been definitely the best iced chai tea latte so far, and you could tell it was gonna be good because it wasn't white like all the others have been. It was kind of like a light browny pinky color. And I could really taste all of the other flavors that should be in your chai, and it was really good. I could see some of the spices in the bottom of the cup.
I gave it a 7, which is dead smack in between the first 2 coffees that we've reviewed, because it really was like directly in the middle between the 2, I think.
For presentation, I gave mine a 7.5 because I could see the like spices in my cup. And their coffee bar though, it wasn't anything special.
I gave mine a 5 because like the other places, even like you could see it was more like the coffee was a little more like textured or layered, like you could tell where like the milk and the coffee were kind of like mingling, and this one didn't really have that. And then yeah, the coffee bar was kind of, so I just gave it a 5. It was pretty purely neutral.
So if you average those, I gave this one a 7.5.
I gave it a 5.75.
So this one for me is the same as Evelyn's so far, just because I think Evelyn's had everything except the actual chai tea down, and this one really won on the chai tea. And then it was like pretty good, but it wasn't like spectacular in the other categories.
This one is my lowest by far.
So 3 down. Okay, bye. Alright, so it's been a couple of days since we've been to Peak, but it was super nice and it was a rainy day. For atmosphere, I gave it a 5 just because it's not a coffee shop first, so it's very much like this restaurant feel, but they had good vibes.
I gave it a 7 because we had the window seat, and there's nothing more that I love than sitting in a nice restaurant when it's raining outside.
And then for service, I gave them a 9.5 because they're just very sweet people there.
Same thing, 9, very sweet, nice people.
And then for taste, I gave mine an 8. And it was very yummy. It had lots of flavor to it. It just wasn't quite like perfection.
I gave it a 5. I've had really good coffee from there, like so good, and I think that's probably some of my favorite. But this one just was not it. Very milky, kind of like warm dishwater.
For presentation, I gave mine an 8. It had the nice stabby straw situation, which was amazing.
I gave it a 5 because it was in a boring old coffee cup.
So overall, I gave it a 7.5.
Overall, I gave it a 6.5.
So it's doing pretty okay, pretty mid. Alright, so we are going to do the Uprising review, and so this place was very modern and very cool. Also, we're sitting by a river, so the audio might be a little bit not great. For atmosphere, I gave it an 8. We sat down for a while, and it was a really great space to hang out, and I liked it.
Yeah, I also gave it an 8. It was a little unnerving because there was people who were like window shopping, but otherwise pretty solid.
For service, I gave it a 9. The barista was really sweet.
For service, I gave it a 7. They didn't have prices listed anywhere, and I found her to be she was nice, but also kind of like rushing, like get us out of there.
So for taste, I gave it an 8, and it was a really good chai, but I don't think it was the best chai.
So taste, I gave it a 7. It was very mid-tier.
Presentation, I give it a 9 because it was super beautiful and there was like all those spices I could see.
For presentation, I gave it a 7.5 because it looked okay.
Overall, I gave this place an 8.5 and it's definitely one of my favorites.
I gave it a 7.3. It was very strongly mid.
Slay. Hello. So these are the cups for...
One sec.
So these are the cups that they give you at stock, and as you can see, they're not plastic at all, but it is starting to disintegrate, and I am feeling like there's no integrity in this cup. It's been about 30 minutes, so yeah. All right, so we went to Stock, which is a coffee shop in the Banff Springs Hotel. For atmosphere, I gave it a 7. It's pretty busy, but you kind of get enough space to move around.
I gave it a 5 because I really don't like the coffee shop in the hotel. Makes me feel very crowded and busy.
So service, I gave a 6. There was nothing memorable about it.
Service, I gave a 4 because she was kind of rude.
Taste, I gave a 7.5. Nothing else to say.
Taste, I gave it a 6. It just tasted like coffee.
Presentation, I give it 2 because I hate those freaking cups.
Same thing, 2.
Overall, I gave it a 5.5.
Overall, I gave it a 4.25. It's
And
my lowest one.
yeah, unfortunately, I think it's probably one of my lowest too. Also, we went to this place called Banff National Park. This one also was not a winner for me. Atmosphere, I gave it a 4. It was kind of in a very weird area.
I gave it a 5.5 because it kind of had like a retro style to it that I really liked.
Service, I give it 10. The barista was so nice.
I wasn't actually there when Amia gave her order to the guy, so I gave it a 9 because he was nice when he gave us the coffee.
Taste, I gave an 8.5. It was super yummy.
Taste, I gave it a 6. It was pretty not memorable.
Presentation, I gave a 3. They gave it to us in a hot cup, which I found kind of interesting.
Presentation, I gave it 2. Same reason.
Overall, I gave it a 6.4.
5.6 for me.
So this one was also pretty low. Alright, so the next place we went to is called White Bark.
It was in a hotel.
Atmosphere, I gave it a 6 because when we went this time, it was pretty good. But we actually tried to go to this coffee shop another time and it was so insanely busy. It just felt very claustrophobic and the line was so huge considering the space.
I gave it a 7. Mia almost tripped on their poorly marked safety hazard door like 3 times. And the first time we were there, it was very busy.
For service, I gave it a 10 because the lady was super sweet.
I gave it an 8.5 because she was good, but I didn't think it was outstanding.
For taste, I gave it an 8. It was very delish.
I gave it a 7.5 because it's pretty good.
Presentation, I gave an 8. I actually love the little cups that they put the small size in.
It looked very small when I first got it, but I quite liked the cup as well. I gave it a 9. It was like a roundy cup. It was pretty cool, actually.
And overall, we both gave White Bark an 8. We went to is a place called Wildflower. Atmosphere gave a 7 and had a very like rustic vibe and it was cute.
I gave it an 8 because it felt very warm and comforting.
Service, I gave it a 6. It was kind of not great.
7.5 for me because she just finished dealing with a pretty crappy lady and still was nice to us, and I can respect that.
Taste, I gave a 6. I did not finish. I didn't particularly like it. It tasted just like milk.
I gave it a 5.5 because it also just tasted like milk.
Presentation, I gave a 6. It was just pretty boring.
I gave it a 7 because they poured me a glass of milk and then put an espresso shot on top, so it looked pretty cool.
Overall, I gave this a 6.2.
Overall, I gave it a 5.6.
So before we talk about what our #1 coffee shop was in Banff, there are a few places we didn't go to. So the first one was Second Cup Coffee because they were closed a lot and we just couldn't go. It's in the mall. I have a feeling it would be pretty like okay. And it's also a chain store, so that's the same reason we didn't go to Starbucks. And
Or Tim Hortons.
yeah.
There's a coffee shop on top of the Banff gondola, but nobody's got time for that.
There's also one that's pretty far out of town. It's called Happy Camper, and that was just only accessible by like bus, and it's just pretty like far, so we're just not counting that one. And there was a lot of coffee shops to hit in Banff, and I can't believe we hit them all. Good job. Alright, so our winners are, for me, that's going to be Uprising.
For me, it's gonna be White Bark.
Alright, so Stock was our least favorite for both of us, and I think honestly we just didn't receive great service that time, and we just didn't like our coffee or the vibe. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us, and hopefully I'll see you in another vlog very soon. Bye!